Hi, this is Dwayne Pemberton with WineFoot.com. We're here with Gary Wooton of Croze Winery out of Napa Valley here in Washington State. Came up to visit us and been spending a little bit of time with him drinking his wines. And Gary, why don't you tell us a little bit about Croze and how it came to be, and you can give us a short version, that's fine.
The short version. I retired and discovered I'd made a horrible career move. I had never learned how to play golf. So I had been making homemade wine for a number of years, and I had been sending it off to my best friends in Southern California. I gathered them together, made them give me their vacation money, and we started a winery.
You're kind of a virtual winery, right? You don't have a tasting room, you don't have vineyards. How does that work? Tell us a little bit about what you do to make your wines.
I buy all of my grapes. My licenses are all winery licenses, so I have the same license that all the big boys have, but I buy all my grapes. I don't own any vineyards, and then I lease space in another winery in order to make the wine. It saves me about $5 million I don't have. Works out pretty well.
Can you tell us a little bit about your philosophy and how you approach your winemaking?
Yep. My palate evolved back in the 60s and the early 70s, when what we were making in the Napa Valley were wines that were centered on balance. There were no giant extractions, giant alcohols, giant oaks. Everything was based upon balance. That's when Andrei Shelishev was making wine for BV. I like those wines, and those are the wines that I make now.
How long have you been making wine?
Made my first wine in 1982. Made the mistake of making a Pinot Noir that won gold medals all over the state of California. And I spent the next 20 years taking classes at Davis, finding out what the hell I'd done.
So kind of by accident, fell into it.
It was kind of by accident. I'd have been money ahead if I had made a horrible wine and gone and done something else.
Yeah. You mentioned to me inside that you used 100% French oak. What's your primary reason for doing that?
The flavors in the flavors in the wood from the Navarre forest match my style of winemaking. They're elegant, they're soft, they add a complexity, and they add to the mouthfeel of the wine. I've done extensive barrel trials to find out if anything else was better. I've never found anything that worked as well as that. But I don't use 100% new. It's all 1/3 new, and the rest of it is used barrels.
Can you tell us a little bit about your current lineup of wines?
There is a Sauvignon Blanc, which I get the grapes from Lake County, little bitty vineyard in Lake County. There's a Rosé of Cabernet Sauvignon, which isn't really a rosé. It's just it's a light red wine. It's much more complex than most rosés you'll run into. Perfect wine for anything off of a grill. There's a Cabernet Sauvignon on the Croze label, which is a single vineyard Napa Valley Cabernet at a fairly reasonable price. All of these are very small production. Total production is about 1,800 cases on a very good year. There's also in the Croze label a port, Cabernet Sauvignon port, which is addictive. You have to be careful with it. I also make another label, which is the Smith-Wooton label, and in that label there is a Cabernet Franc and a Syrah. And that label came about because I needed a birthday present for my mother when she was 82. And she insisted on getting her wine every year, and so now I've got 2 labels.
Well, there you go. You know, we talked a little bit about your Syrah inside. Can you tell us, for the camera here, a little bit about the vineyard that comes from up there in the Sierra foothills?
It's a vineyard from Calaveras County in the Sierra Nevadas. I've always liked the flavor set that comes from grapes that have Rhone grapes that have a huge temperature shift during the day. The diurnal temperature shift up there runs from 40 degrees in the morning to as high as 112, 115 in the afternoon. And that creates a complexity of flavors within the grape that you simply can't get from grapes that are grown where there's a marine influence. It just doesn't develop. I think that this Syrah shows a complexity that sort of supports that theory.
One of the things I appreciated that I noticed with your wines is you kind of hold them. You don't tend to release them too early. We were drinking 02s and 03s in there, and unfortunately we see so many wineries, even here in 2008, releasing 06s, 07s. In my opinion, I think they need to be held longer. How can you guys afford to do that?
How can you afford not to? If somebody tells you, you lay this wine down for 3 or 4 years and all that roughness, all that astringency will go away. All they're telling you is that they've released it too early and they want you to do the cellaring for them. I don't believe that that's in anybody's best interest. And yeah, it's expensive to hold a wine for that long. On the other hand, I don't want to release a bottle of wine and have to have somebody do the cellaring for me. So my wine isn't released until everything has come together, until everything is smooth. You will find no roughness, no astringency, no rough edges in any of my wines because there's no reason to do that.
Right. One of the things you have said too, that your wines are typically not sold in grocery stores. How do people normally find your wines? Like, say up here in Washington or out of the greater Napa area, how would somebody come across your wines?
Good point. You'll find them in a lot of the bottle shops. You'll find them in a lot of the restaurants. But if you get onto the website, you can order them directly.
Okay. Cool. Anything else we should look forward to out of Croze coming up here in the next couple of years?
Nope, just more really good wine. I don't have any plans on adding any more varietals for a while. I think I've got what I need in order to make a really good winemaker's dinner.
Well, there you go. Well, thank you so much for your time, Gary. We look forward to following you guys and see what you're doing, and keep making some good wine. Thank you.
Bet. Thank
All right.
you.
Bye-bye.